What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe, No Days Off DFS, here to bring you guys a quick NBA breakdown for, what do we got? A 7-game slate tonight over here on DraftKings. If you guys are new here, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content I drop over here on the channel. And drop a like on this video if this video or any of my other videos have helped you guys make some money, or if you just actually really truly do enjoy the content. Thank you guys for the comments. Thank you guys for, more and more people communicating, talking, speaking to me. Means a lot. Definitely helps out in regards to making these videos, and I really do hope that I am helping you guys win some money over here. As you can see, last night, not a bad night over on DraftKings and FanDuel. Had a couple of slips that went ahead and hit. Again, all that is posted right over here on the Patreon. The link for that is in the description below. As always, I am posting my NBA core. As you can see, pretty good core last night. Drew Holiday, D'Angelo Russell, Joel Embiid, LeBron James, JoJo, even with the blowout, still was able to go ahead and get us 55 fantasy points at decent ownership as well. I will be very honest, and definitely going to talk about this when we get over to DraftKings in regards to lineup building and just looking at ownership and things like that. I made a mistake last night myself. It cost me from cashing, of course, but of course, I make these videos to also share, not only to reflect on my process, but hopefully to teach and also inform other people, because me coming up, whenever I first started out with DFS stuff, didn't have this right here. And I definitely feel like everyone can learn from somebody, no matter what stake level and everything that you are playing on, or where you are in your DFS career, betting career, whatnot. It definitely helps, especially if you do this besides it just being a everyday thing. Maybe you're just doing it just to do it, or if you're doing it because you actually want to win some money. So definitely, I do think there's some value in just giving back to the audience. So real quick, a decent slate. We got some injury news, of course, to report. Some teams, a couple of teams on the back end of back-to-back, a couple of teams on the front end of their back-to-back, all that good stuff. Definitely some injury news that we have to pay attention to on the slate. And as always, we wouldn't be able to kick it off if the first couple of games has some news that we have to pay attention to. Over here on the Charlotte side, LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, both of them were present at shoot-around, so expecting for them to actually be able to play and beat back. If LaMelo is out, that's just going to boost those guys like Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, Mark Williams, and Vasa off the bench. He would of course get the start, so that would be boost some of those guys, but I fully expect both Ball and Miller to play. Over here on Detroit, if you guys didn't see it, definitely don't go back and watch it. I do not think that Cole Anthony is a dirty player, but it just sucks whenever a player gets injured, such as Jaden Ivey, who was having a very good season. Really does suck to see him go down, but Ivey will be out for quite some time. Definitely pretty much snapped his leg. So no news really over here to report for Detroit, just for exactly who they're going to start in the starting lineup, which I would imagine it would be one of the Thompson brothers. That one right there. I'm not sure if that's a Minute or a Sore. I'm pretty sure it's a Sore. Right there. For Orlando, Anthony Black, game time decision, not too worried about him. And then over there on the Toronto Raptors side, RJ Barrett is doubtful to play, so we shouldn't have any RJ. But we do have Quickly back. We do have Grady Dick. We have Scotty Barnes and Jakob Poeltl, so still a decent team, decent matchup going up against the Orlando. Washington Wizards, Bagley's out, Sadiq Bey is out, Blue Koulibaly has already been ruled out. Poole is back, and Kyle Kuzma is back for them. For the Pelicans, B.I. and Zion Williamson, the main two people that we've been waiting to come back for quite some time, they are still out. Over here for Boston, Brown, he is a game time decision, sat out yesterday due to a shoulder, but really resting him on the front end of back-to-back. Fully would actually expect for him to play here today. And then over on the Houston side, Tari Easton, doubtful to play. And then the other Thompson brother, I'm pretty sure this one is a man. He is out due to his suspension that he still has to serve. For the New York Knicks, Jalen Brunson, fully expect for him to play. Definitely, they didn't need him last time they played Utah, so made sense to rest him, but you're going to need him going up against OKC, who is on the back end of a back-to-back. We are still without Alex Caruso and Chet Holmgren, so that's not going to change. But revenge narrative for our boy iHeart going up against his former team. Cleveland Cavaliers taking on Detroit. Sam Merrill, only thing that's a game time decision that matters. For Dallas side, they are still without Luka. PJ Washington, game time decision. We should know whether or not if he should play, hopefully. If not before lock, a little bit after lock. Hopefully we get that news. Outside of that, nothing else that we got to worry about over there. For the San Antonio Spurs, Sochan, he is going to be out. That's been confirmed. That's straight up. So we should see it's pretty sure it's Castle that's getting put into the starting lineup, because I'm very sure Vassell is already starting for them. But going against the Denver Nuggets, this is going to be an interesting game right here. I really do like the upside for the Nuggets side, just for the way that they're clicking, rolling, and the fact that my boy Westbrook, triple-double upside. It's really cool. If you are a basketball fan and you enjoy watching the game, no matter if they're taking more threes, so on and so forth, the game has evolved. Let's accept it. Let's call it what it is. The game has evolved from what we've seen in years past with the lockdown defense or the Spurs of the past, passing the ball left and right, so on and so forth. They've always shot threes, but they haven't shot them at the clip that they're shooting now. And that's just what we actually have now. You have a lot of people, the kids, if they've grown up, they've learned, they've understood. We got better shooting coaches and stuff to teach them how to shoot the three ball. And we understand that opens the floor for your big men, your dominant guys, or your slashers, your cutters, to actually get there to the rim for the stuff that you want to see with those dunks and everything. That's just, it is what it is. And the fact that we have two of the leading league leaders in triple doubles being able to grace the floor together, Russ in his 17th season, being able to do this still, to not necessarily the MVP caliber that he once played at, but to still be able to play at that crazy tenacity that he comes out there, the Tasmanian Devil, night in, night out. Yes, it may cause some teams, some losses, whatever, but still, a guy that can go out there, give it his all, and play the way he can with one of the best, if not the best player in the league. Granted, Shea, you're great at the guard position, but a spade is a spade. Nikola Jokic is still the best big man and best player in the league, hands down. I'm not gonna say he's MVP, but still, the Joker is the Joker. To see both of them be able to play off of each other and play that way on the court, the pace that they can play at, just the IQ both of these guys have, it is amazing. This is, I'm not necessarily saying it's on the same tier as LeBron getting to play with Curry in the Olympics, but you can see the duo, the meshness of two like-minded-ish players that can honestly, their games can coincide and play off each other. And that's what they're actually able to do currently right now, playing off of each other. The offense, the more that they're starting this unit together, the better it has become, and it is. And they are going to have some questions to come whenever Aaron Gordon comes back. How they're going to figure that out in regards to if Gordon's still going to be a starting lineup, or if they're going to bring Russ back to the bench. Granted, I mean, I don't mind Russ coming off the bench being the punch that he is, but still, going to get off my soapbox. Sorry. Memphis taking on Sacramento Kings. Zach Edey fully expect to play. He was that shoot around, so I'm not too worried about that. Going up against the Kings, who Keegan Murray is doubtful to play. And then Atlanta taking on LA on the back end of back-to-back. AD, he was sat out yesterday just to miss because he was going to play today. LeBron James, fully would expect for him to play. Over there for Atlanta, Trae Young, game time decision. Johnson, he's game time decision, but expect for both those two guys to play as well. Heading on over to the DraftKings site to play the most on site. If you guys don't got an account, you want one, check the link down description below so you guys get that deposit match bonus and join your boy over here on the King. So now, what I was saying in regards to building lineups and stuff like that, looking at ownerships, I made a mistake yesterday. I adjusted to the news in regards to the fact that Anthony Davis is going to be out, and I was like, oh, Ayton should be able to smash and have a good time out here. Yes, AD, the size is better of a matchup for him, especially going up against Jackson Hayes going up against Ayton. I still thought that either way, Ayton should be able to go out here and smash. Ayton did not play the minutes that I thought he was going to play, nor was he as productive as what he could have been out there. We definitely saw Denny Avdia have a much better game in that instance. But the thing that cost me legit cashing, besides Ayton giving me a complete snowflake, was the fact that I pivoted off of Jonathan Kuminga, who I already knew Jonathan, he's going to play at least 30 minutes. Tracy Jackson Davis, yes, he's starting, but they still enjoy and love having Kuminga come in, play the 4, move Draymond down there to the 5, and honestly, it's a tandem between Draymond and Kuminga, both of them intertwining in there at that 5 position. But the pace in which they play on, and you're getting a Philly team who does play slower with Embiid in the lineup, and also with the transition takes and stuff that Kuminga can actually getting to the rim, getting to the hoop, that mid-range that he's actually worked on, and also his improved outside shot. The writing was on the wall for me to stick with Kuminga. The upside was definitely there, and I blew it. I messed up, and it ruined my chances of cashing just from that one pivot that I made right there. And I shit you not, that one pivot. Everything else that I had in my line was good to go. I had Drew Holiday, D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Joel Embiid, and then my value that I had when they announced that Aaron Wiggins was going to be starting, his birthday narrative, and also the value. And looking at what he's done the last couple of times whenever he has played going against the Clippers, he's at least given 20 plus fantasy points each game. The value was there for me. I went ahead and played that, and then I was looking for a cheap piece, and there's tons of cheap pieces that we can get to. Jarius Walker, his minutes have gone up over his last several games, even after Obi Toppin has come back. I love the play, so I went ahead and I played that as well. And the lineup looked very good. It would have graced right there at like 300 fantasy points, which would have been enough because, of course, I play in the higher dollar contest myself. So the 300, especially when it is a low-scoring night altogether, I would have literally either doubled up or made a little bit more of my money on the night. But all in all, I cost myself. I understood. I get it. Bounce back. I'm gonna try again to right my wrongs on tonight's slate. Speaking of tonight's slate, starting out with Charlotte taking on Detroit. Over here, this should be a pretty good game. Hopefully a fast pace. Definitely do think that the biggest, honestly, to me, the best thing that we're going to have in this game is the steal upside that we had from last season whenever we got to watch him inside of the starting lineup out here getting to play with these guys and everything that he can actually go out here and do. And that's going to be for the fact that we are going to be getting a Sir Thompson in the starting lineup at 4K. They didn't adjust him for his price. As long as he is inside the starting lineup, I love the upside for what he should be able to bring here. Top value play for me inside of this game. 4K, you honestly cannot beat it, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's highly owned. Outside of him, of course, we can look to Jalen Duren. We have played opposing centers going up against Charlotte all season long. I will definitely be looking towards that right there. And then, of course, as long as LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller are in the game, love them as some run back pieces that we can get to, and definitely wouldn't mind paying up for them. Of course, you can come down here, get to Brandon Miller. The scoring upside is there. We know he can play make as well. The rebounding, all that is there. If you are trying to come down off LaMelo, you think maybe they might limit LaMelo since he is the one coming back off of his wrist and ankle. Maybe they'll tamper his minutes like they normally do on the first game back whenever he actually does come back from injuries and stuff like that. So Brandon Miller can have the higher upside. If we're going to get a minutes limit for either one of these guys, then Miles Bridges 7,700. The upside is just definitely through the roof for him, and what he's done over the last several games: 59, 47, 57, 40. All those fantasy points right there. It's honestly beautiful goodness right there for what he can do in a smash spot that we've seen opposing power forwards. Wendell Carter Jr., 32 fantasy points. Michael Porter Jr., 31. Keegan Murray, 34. LeBron James, 62. Kevin Durant, 60. So the upside is definitely there for Miles Bridges if he decides to go out here and pop off and have a mad monster of a game. We still have Mark Williams, who is on a minutes limit. He's finally getting up into the 20-ish of minute. Well, he actually played 31 minutes going up against Chicago. So hopefully, maybe he might be off his minutes limit finally. I typically don't like to take centers going up against Detroit because Jalen Duren, Isaiah Stewart, they're actually pretty decent tandem over there at the center spot. But 5'5" for a center with the upside, the lob upside, and everything that he does have, I definitely could take a bite at the apple right there. But I will say, GPP wise, Jalen Duren, he does look pretty good as a decent pivot in a spot that you can go to right there in that position. Orlando taking on Toronto. I would imagine that, well, not imagine, Orlando is still a pretty decent defensive team. Toronto, I don't mind looking at a couple of the pieces, especially if with RJ Barrett being doubtful to play. I think that does come into play where we are going to want to be looking at Scotty Barnes, 9,800, looking at Jakopoto, quickly, all those guys that the usage should be there for what they should be able to go out here and do. But I will say over on Orlando side, I do think that their upside might be a little bit better, and that's where I would focus more on this game. This game isn't high priority for me in regards to getting some plays from, but if I was to look at a couple of pieces for them, opposing centers, they've played very well going up against Jakopoto's defense. Goga, this is definitely a smashable spot. We know he can get upwards to 30 plus minutes, especially because the center position behind him is pretty scarce, whatever the word is. At 7,200, the upside is definitely there. We know he has 40 inside of his bag, especially if the scoring is going to be there for him, the playmaking, and also the rebound and defensive upside that he has. As long as he keeps himself out of foul trouble, he typically can go out there and play 30 plus minutes, especially if the game does stay close. And then outside of that, Tristan Da Silva, I'm not going to give up on him. He's definitely asked to take a ton of shots. He is trying to fill in that Franz Wagner, that Apollo role in regards to getting his shots. If they're falling, he does get to get extended run in regards to his minutes, and does play typically pretty good. But that shot has to fall for him, and then we already know that he can play making up, also rebound as well, pretty well. And then outside of that, the vet for them over here, not looking at Suggs, 8,300. Not really too interested in that price. That's just a bit much for me. But I will say, KCP 4,600. If you're looking for a starting player that's going to play 30 plus minutes, and he's been on fire, well, at least last game, 21 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds and a block, 2 steals. We already know the steal, that's going to be their defense going up against Toronto, who does play pretty fast themselves as well. I do like the upside for what KCP can go out there and do in that matchup, in that spot right there. So definitely would be someone I keep my eye on. Going over to Boston, taking on the Houston Rockets. This one right here, of course, we already know that Brown, he should be back. He should be playing. If I am going to take interest from anyone over here, I will say it will be Jaylen Brown, as long as he's not quote unquote limited. I know pretty sure that they only rested him yesterday just for the fact that it was the front end of a back-to-back. Kind of like when Embiid didn't play, you got an extra day of rest. I would imagine that you should be the featured player. You should definitely go out here and ball out. It just all depends on who the heck is Dylan Brooks going to be on. Is it going to be on Brown? Is it going to be on Tatum? I would imagine it's going to be a flip-flop between the two. I would see him starting off on Brown and then try to see Jabari on Tatum as much as they can, which should open up things for Derek White and Jrue Holiday, both of them, to go back out here and have a decent game again as well. But Dylan Brooks, I kind of it's weird to say. I kind of have some interest in Brooks. Just looking at what he's done at 5,400 his last couple of games, 31, 31, 41, 42, 25. The dude is oddly balling. So definitely just one to, if you land on it, it's not a bad play. It's not a crazy like, why am I playing Dylan Brooks? It's okay. It's okay to play Dylan Brooks, as weird as that could be. If you don't want to play Dylan, Freddie V, again, opposing guards that can shoot. If you can shoot, you typically can go out here and have a decent game going up against Boston, because that is the one way to go ahead and beat them. Freddie V, again, himself, he's coming off some really great games over his last several games. Wouldn't mind going to him as well if I'm trying to get a piece over here from this Rockets team. And then, like I said, over there for the Boston Celtics, it's going to be Jaylen Brown. Definitely the upside should be there. 8-8 for him. We know that he's been balling over his last couple of games. 25 minutes versus Toronto, but over a fantasy point per minute when he was out there on the court. As you can see, they blew the water out of them. I would imagine this game, Houston top 5 in defense in the league, that this game should actually be closer. And then, of course, you cannot go wrong with Tatum. I'm not saying don't play Tatum, but just with the full squad, 10-2 for Tatum, I definitely think that we could spread out in regards to what we have to actually take from this game. Another game that is very much stackable, I would imagine that you're going to see a lot of people that's going to have tons of pieces from this, is going to be Washington from the Pelicans. Pelicans have definitely been playing better over the last couple of games, and there are some spots that we can attack here just because we know Washington defense is lackadaisy. Same thing for the Pelican side, that there's some spots that we have gone at consistently all season. Really starting with the center position. Both centers to me are in play. Messi, we've attacked centers going up against the Washington Wizards all season, and then vice versa. Sarr, if this is a game for Sarr to be able to pop off, and he's been pretty consistent over his last couple of games, 34, 25, 29, 29, 26. He's been hovering right close to at least 30-ish fantasy points. Has finally broke it going up against Chicago, and I could see him doing that again here today. If he's out there actually snagging the rebounds, the upside is definitely there for him. Even with Kuzma being back, 5'9" is not a bad price. I will say I would take the 100 saving just because Messi, I do know he's going to be on the court for sure. He's not splitting time with Valanciunas out there. And again, another player who has been pretty involved in regards to the defensive upside, the rebounding, and also can score as well. I don't mind that at all for Messi at 5'8". That's your cheap value right there at the center position that you can get to. Now, outside of that, some other players that I really, really do like over here on the Pelican side, I haven't played him all season yet. CJ McCollum. I swear to Bob, if he goes out here and he does today, I'm really just over with the Pelicans. But this is a great spot. They do struggle in transition. They do struggle against players who take spot up shots and things of that nature. And that's CJ's game right there. We know he's going to chuck the three at 7,500. Good price for CJ. Love the upside for what he can actually go out there and give us. And the same thing can be said for our boy Trey Murphy and G Herbo. Both those guys definitely don't mind looking at either one of them at their prices just because it's decent. Trey Murphy, 7,300. We know he's going to chuck threes. Like I said, if you didn't catch it the last time the Pelicans played, for 2 threes. He has a record and a streak going right now. You could definitely ladder him up because that is the big thing that Murphy does is take threes. 2 threes, 3 threes, 4 threes, and then take a dime on 5 threes. But look at his last couple games: 5 threes, 4 threes, 5 threes, 4 threes, 3 threes. Ton of the shot attempts are coming from the 3 position. But if you are looking for something to safely add to a parlay or something like that, 2 3-point made would be something I would take for Trey Murphy. And then, like I said, Herb Jones, G Herbo at 5,300. That's not a bad price tag to pay for him at all. Now, with Koulibaly being out, I do think that Champagne would be someone I look to at 5K, maybe a couple more minutes for him. Hasn't played too many minutes with Kuz and Poole being out there and back, but with Koulibaly being missing, I would imagine that he's going to have to get a boost, a bit more minutes. He's going to be inside the starting lineup, hopefully, today for them. So I definitely do see the upside in going down there if you're looking for a decent value play in this game, if you're trying to run another piece back from it. New York Knickerbockers taking on my OKC Thunder on the back end of a back-to-back. I honestly think the streak might get broken today for the Thunder. I do think we could possibly lose this game. It's crazy to say, but I do see this being the game that we finally lose that snaps the streak. We're going up against a really good Knicks team. Really good Knicks team. In it, all in all, Towns, I think it's going to be a good matchup between him and iHeart. I think that we possibly could get Towns into some foul trouble, which is the case, but 10-4, not bad. Same thing for Shea. He's going to be going through the gauntlet of wing defenders and Josh Hart, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby. All 3 of the guys' length and stuff like that can definitely mess and deter with what he can do. Now, if he gets Brunson, that's chopped chicken right there. I ain't worried about Brunson defense out there on him, but Outside of that, I do think this is going to be a game J-Dub's going to have to step up in. Towns, he definitely should be able to go out there and put on a show. iHeart at 7,300, if you believe into the revenge narrative. I do like the upside and think that he will be a player I would look to and play. I definitely could see myself going there. Outside of that, I really don't have too much interest in this game. I just think it's going to be a dog fist of a game. Possibly could be low scoring for them, and no player truly sticks out to me value-wise or anything outside of iHeart, just for the simple fact of, hey, this is a revenge narrative game. I can go to Isaiah Hartenstein. That's literally it for me over there. Now, going on over to Dallas taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland, who has been on a run, looking like the best team in the league. Honestly, again, the bigs, the guards, you already know what time it is. Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, all these guys are in contention to play. All of them I would be looking towards. We don't have Luka still, so of course you're going to be looking towards Kyrie. You're going to be looking towards Spencer Dinwiddie. Both those guys definitely cut the cake for me right there. If Lively is actually back, you are going to kind of need your centers and your size. Lively and Gafford, both of them can be in play. Not really looking towards Klay Thompson, Quentin Grimes out here. If PJ Washington does miss, that should boost. Maybe we get like a Maxi Kleber, extra minutes for him or something like that off the bench. Moved into this, well, would have moved into the starting lineup. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to move in the starting lineup because the Cavs play way too big for you to have to try to shift down Klay to the 4. It's not going to work. You're going to have to start one of your other bigs off the bench. So if PJ was to miss, which I don't see him, questionable right knee sprain and Wednesday game against the Rockets. Yeah, I would just imagine it would have to be Maxi if he's good to go, or Olivia, Maxis Prosper, and Powell. Like, or if you run the double big lineup with Lively and Gafford, I don't see it. But not too much to really like in that game. Definitely would have to get that injury news for if Washington's going to be out. Last game, late night hammer, the San Antonio Spurs taking on Denver Nuggets. I really do feel like this game is going to be fireworks, and I want to get some pieces from this. You got the marquee matchup in the Joker taking on Wemby. Which big can knock down better threes, which big can impose their will, and I'm going to go with the vet, the Joker. As you can see in the cover photo, I like the tandem and the duo of Nikola Jokic and Russell Westbrook. Both of these guys, they're not taking away from each other's games, they're adding to it. Russ is out here dropping at least 30-ish fantasy points out there in the starting lineup. It's clicking, it's gelling, it's looking much better out there. The assists are there for him. He's not taking away from what the Joker's doing in regards to his assists. He's out here getting triple doubles as well, 23 points, 15 assists, 17 rebounds. He's playing freely, 72, 93, 61, 74. You cannot beat that production and that upside. Now I understand Wemby can go out here and do the same thing, but I am going to temper my expectations with Wemby inside of this matchup going up against the Joker here in this spot. The San Antonio Spurs as a whole. Now I will say there is some value that we can get from the Spurs, and I'm not going to focus too heavy on trying to go ahead and force myself to be able to play Wemby here. Now, block upside wise, maybe he can go out here and have a decent game, especially if you get Russ trying to drive downhill, or Michael Porter Jr., something like that. Wemby can block you either way. It doesn't matter if you're on the perimeter or if you're driving to the lane. We know he can get there. But I will say, outside of that, over there on the Spurs, I think the upside for Chris Paul, this could be one of those games that you're going to need Chris to give you a vintage Chris Paul game. Out of all his games he's had here, besides going up against Brooklyn, he's at least given us 30 fantasy points and doing it in some limited minutes. So the upside, Chris Paul, I don't hate or mind going to Chris here in this spot. We already know that they are going to have to start. Very sure that Castle doesn't start, but Castle, he should be inside the starting lineup. He's a player that likes to chuck. He can definitely get his shots up. Where is Castle at? He's a cheap value piece. Look, at 3,400, this is your value piece right here. As long as this mofo is starting, I don't see how I don't go ahead and play it. 3,400, as long as you can go out there and get me at least 20 fantasy points, which you should be able to going up against this Nuggets team, that's your value. That's what you play right there. And then you build out whatever, maybe get you another cheap piece in the 5K range. You can play multiple studs on this slate once again. You can. We don't have to worry about the Laker game with Trae Young, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. So the studs are very much limited in regards to the pool of what we actually have here today. Matter of fact, even closing this down, looking at everything that we have up here, you got the Joker, Wemby, Shea, Towns, Tatum, Cunningham, Scotty Barnes, LaMelo Ball, Shango, Kyrie Irving. That's where I'm going to cut it off as like the studs for today. And out of all of those studs right here, I can say you can make the case for the Joker, maybe a little bit for Wemby, Shea, I really don't like his matchup in back end of back-to-back. I typically don't play Shea on the back end of back-to-backs. Towns, I can see the upside for him there. Tatum, back end of back-to-back. I really would rather play Brown right there. Cunningham going up against Charlotte. I definitely see why I would want to play Cunningham. I can go right there to that. Scotty Barnes going up against Orlando. Toughish matchup for him right there. But we are getting Scotty without RJ Barrett. Again, I still will be able to at least fit 2 studs into my line, especially with just the value that I actually have going ahead and getting to Castle right there. That's going to be it for me, guys. As you can see, your boy has been recording videos all week. Honestly, have not felt the greatest, but still able to push out and give you guys this content. Hopefully, you guys were able to get a little something from this. Drop a like in this video. Talk to me down in the comment section. Hopefully, everyone has a blessed and prosperous Friday. I will see you guys again next Monday. Peace.